What I'd like to do now is to explain to you what I believe is perhaps the biggest single event that's happened this year. For me, I was introduced to legacy gold just over 12 months ago. I've always had the fascination for this stuff, gold, and you may be one of those people who would share it. If you actually wanted to buy that today, it costs you about $31,000. I don't think too many people can afford that, and that's perhaps why gold is not really considered a great thing for the masses. But you can also get gold for as little as this, which is a 10 gram bar. That would actually cost you $341. And what we've done with legacy gold, we've said, look, it needs to be for everybody. We now actually produce one that's only a 1 gram, and you can get that for as little as £40, which I'll explain a little bit in a bit. But let me just introduce you to legacy. Okay, what is legacy gold? Well, legacy gold is the physical ownership of gold. You know, it's been around for probably since the day that the earth was founded. So it's always been around. It's talked in biblical times. It's talked right throughout the history. Kings and queens have always wanted it. And you may even have some of it on your finger and around your jewellery, necklace, because it makes it, everyone feels great with gold. What Legacy Gold have done is they've introduced the opportunity for people like you and I to get involved in gold. Because the ownership of gold is of great value to everybody. And I'm not going to go through them, you can read those statements for yourself. But let me just share this with you. Okay, we all heard of the expression a nest egg. So why would you want gold? And why now? Well, let me tell you, I mentioned previously about what happens with fiat currency, how it's become really less valued than what it is. And I believe over the next couple of years, currency as we have today is actually going to disappear. Everything is moving into a digital age, and everybody's going to be involved in just trading between each other at a digital level. Okay? Once upon a time, as the story goes, but unfortunately this is a little bit of a nightmare. Because there was a time with $1 or $5 or $10, it actually was a certificate against a commodity, an official commodity of gold or silver. So if you went into a bank and you wanted to exchange your what it was, $1 note, you could actually get a $1 value piece of silver. So it was traded against a physical commodity. So it had value, it had the store of value. Unfortunately, governments doing what they do is they didn't want the currency to be governed by something else other than their ability to control it. So what happened in 1971, President Nixon decreed that we were no longer going to be backed by a physical commodity such as gold or silver. So he created what was known as the Federal Reserve Note. And what that meant was, it was a piece of paper that just said, as long as we accept it as currency and we trade it, it's okay. But there was a problem, because what happened, he created something called a fiat currency, which basically meant just a piece of paper. It wasn't backed by anything, it wasn't controlled by anything, other than the ability for the government to do with it as they did. And you can see here that the words "let it be done," which basically is a Latin word for whatever happens, happens. So we now face today's problem, which is, since the government were able to take over and had control over printing money, it means now if they're concerned about the markets, if they're concerned about the economy, what do? They just print more money. And unfortunately, what that's done for you and I is it's took away the value of that currency. And what we're actually doing now is we're borrowing money from the future and we're paying for it now. And more importantly, we're going to be paying it. Our children and our grandchildren and their grandchildren are going to be paying for our debt today in many years to come. Now, you may have seen this one previously, but what this actually means is the result of our current currency situation is that it's losing value. Now, it doesn't matter what currency you deal in, whether you're in the euro, whether you're the dollar, whether you're British sterling, or whether you're the yen, the same result is the same result. What people might not appreciate or understand is every currency that exists today is attached to the dollar value. So if the dollar goes up, most other currencies will go up. The dollar goes down, then every other currency will go down with it. As I may have mentioned previously, I believe that the actual dollar is going to finish over the next few years. This is an example of what happens. That is a £100 trillion dollar bill. £100 trillion dollar bill. That wouldn't buy you a loaf. That's what happens when you constantly print and print and print and print your currency into almost oblivion. Legacy gold. What you might not appreciate is 100 years ago, £1 would have bought you over 100 loaves. Today, £1, because of that debased value, won't even buy you a loaf of bread. So how does that impact on currency? Well, you have to understand, what is currency? Right, currency is not real money. What it is it's portable, it's divisible, it's durable, it's fungible. What fungible means is that £10 in my wallet is the same as £10 in your wallet, in your purse, and we value it equally, so it doesn't matter where we go. We can just exchange it, and everyone's happy to do so. It's a medium of exchange then, so we just share it between each other. It's a unit of account. It has a promise to pay, so whenever I go and buy goods or services, the person to whom I'm buying or getting services from has to accept that as a currency. Okay? What it is not is a store of value. And to qualify as a store of value, it must retain its value over a long period of time. Now, currency, let me tell you, every currency that's ever been made has always gone to zero value. I'll say that again. Every currency has always gone to zero value. And we're already saying that the dollar has lost about 95% of its value. So, let's look at what gold has done. 100 years ago, 1 ounce of gold bought you 140 loaves of bread. So everybody ate. There was never a problem. Okay, today, 1 ounce of gold buys you over 800 loaves. And that's where the store of value carries on, because the price of gold over the last 100 years has constantly gone up, and therefore you're able to buy more with it. So, currency is not real money, so what makes gold qualify as money? Well, here's the thing. It has all the properties that currency has, but it's also a store of value. Gold offers you a hedge against inflation, the value of the currency, and it protects your wealth outside the banking system. Because it's a physical asset, you're not relying on the banking system to look after your money, and more importantly, you're not relying on them making more profits off your money than what you actually make off. So now, you should like the idea of owning some real gold bullion. But where do you buy it from? And what do you pay? Well, after all, you also assume that you can't afford it. I don't think there are too many people in the world like you or I who could afford to spend £31,000 on a bar of gold. But you might feel more comfortable with 341, or you might even be even more comfortable with £40. And there's where legacy gold becomes who it is. Because legacy gold's motto is, if I can't provide a service that everybody can get access to at a price that is affordable and start to save for my future wealth, then the chances are I'm not going to get involved. I don't think there are too many people in the world today, unless you're in a real poor environment, couldn't afford £40. So for as little as £40 a month, you can start your road to having a future wealth that not only will you benefit from, but your children, your grandchildren, and your great-great-grandchildren. Because we need to go away from a debt society. Stop buying today and paying for it later. start saving, start with gold, and let me show you how you can do that. Thank you very much for listening. There's much more to come. What you need to do is take action today and share the link with others who you might know, and you do something about it. Thank you very much.